Hello and welcome to Boomer 11 Live. And we saw a century. I mean, we almost saw a century from Yashasvi Jaiswal yesterday, but then today we saw something even more beautiful. Suryakumar Yadav everywhere, all around the ground. GT ballers had nowhere to escape, and then the GT batters all ran away quickly before Rashid Khan had to save and bring them to some respectable total. I have with me Abel. Abel, another day, another Surya Kumar Yadav innings. Pretty much that's the way to sum it up, isn't it?
Exactly, Jaren. I mean, I couldn't have expected anything different when they're playing in Wankhede, and with the kind of form Surya has shown in the last few matches, you have to say he is definitely carrying Mumbai Indians at this point of stage, because whenever he scores, more often than not, whichever team he plays for wins, and that is one other factor what we're seeing. He's carried out whatever we've seen in international cricket over the last 1 year into this IPL finally, and hence you are seeing Mumbai Indians in the top four at this point of stage. I mean, what a knock that was! Once again, him tearing away the bowlers. That was a top quality bowling attack. They are the best bowling attack of the IPL, and the way in which he was playing was like they were just schoolboys, and that's typical Surya Kumar Yadav, isn't it? Whenever he gets going, he makes any bowling attack in the world look very, very ordinary. And you're talking about a day in which Rashid Khan picked up 4 for 30 and Surya Kumar Yadav scoring 103. I mean, that's an impact he had. I mean, brilliant knock. I mean, he was the difference between the two teams ultimately, if you look at the margin of victory as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just couldn't ball to Surya Kumar Yadav. There was no particular place you could ball to him. I mean, he had three kinds of sweep against the spinners. Even Rashid Khan had to bear the brunt of his batting as well. I mean, Rashid Khan was bowling brilliantly today. The way he got started off in the 4-4, as you mentioned, Abel. He got, I mean, Rohit Sharma probably one of the best deliveries that you can ball to a right-handed batter as a leg spinner. But then still didn't matter. The moment Suryakumar Yadav was there, I mean, so Suryakumar Yadav started to get going. He was going all around the park, and Hardik Pandya tried. The bowlers tried. Everyone tried their best to find a way. But I just felt today Mumbai Indians got 20 runs boost from just the way Suryakumar Yadav played. They were set for 200, but Suryakumar Yadav took it to 218. And once it was
Yeah.
218, I don't think Gujarat Titans had much hope. Just look going over his wagon wheel as well. He scored everywhere, able, and I don't mean that metaphorically. I mean that literally down the ground, uh, everywhere. He's just. I think the least he scored behind third man region at 6 runs, and the most he scored is behind that square leg region where he was sweeping a lot more. But aside from that, he's batted everywhere. He scored runs all around the park.
I mean, I have to agree with that. Whenever Surya Kumar Yadav gets going, you need to know one thing, that he is definitely going to score all around the park. One of the reasons why he's also termed as 360-degree is primarily because of his ability to score all around the park. One thing which I really thought Gujarat should have done ideally better against Surya Kumar Yadav is maybe, they missed a trick by not making him score more straighter down the ground. There were shots which he was sweeping, but he was playing very square, where it was the shorter side of the boundary. He really used the shorter side of the boundary well, but I still thought they should have played. They should have made him bat more straighter. Maybe ball a little bit more on the stumps and made him go. But then, with Surya Kumar Yadav, another issue is that even if you ball in the stumps, he's going to hit you behind square, and that is something which is
Yeah.
so given with Surya Kumar Yadav. Where do you ball to him is the question, right? Whenever he gets going, I don't think there are a lot of teams in the world which stops him whenever he gets going, and that's credit to him. I mean, he's really turned around two matches now, two match winning knocks of taking the game single handedly away. I mean, if you look today's game, I mean, I understand Rohit Sharma and Ishan did give a good start, but then the moment Surya walked into bat, he did not make it look like the game was getting away to Gujarat Titans. You could have thought about it. Okay, they could have applied more pressure and put brakes on their scoring, but it just did not happen. I mean, even amidst of the Rashid Khan spell, what he did was kept sweeping Rashid Khan. He was one batter who Rashid Khan had no answers for. I mean, Rashid Khan tried everything at him. Rashid Khan went short at him. Rashid Khan went full at him, but he just kept sweeping him, and that's so typical of Suryakumar Yadav as well. He can keep doing that time and time again, and he can disrupt the links.
Absolutely. Kapil Verma says Rashid Khan made the match exciting. I think yeah, it's true. He took 4 wickets and he scored high, and he also scored the highest for Gujarat Titans with the bat. I mean,
Agree.
I think if you're a fantasy player and you've picked Rashid Khan today over Suryakumar Yadav, if I'm not wrong, you've gotten more rewards because he's played a proper all-round cricket performance. And most often than not, when you score 79 runs and you get 4 wickets, that genuinely means your team has won the game. That's where Suryakumar Yadav and his brilliance comes in. And as Saloni rightly mentioned, sky was the limit today. And I'm just glad we only had 20 overs because if we had 50 overs, I mean, Lord only knows what Suryakumar Yadav would have brought Mumbai Indians to.
I agree. I mean, when I've always wondered why hasn't he been able to, convert this form into 50 overs format. I think it's about time, you realize it's just one innings away. Even in the 50 overs format, he can do this because just given that space, given that freedom to go out there and do it, he can bat in any pitch in the world. He can take out any ballers in the world. I remember he came into the IPL with a patchy form, three ducks in a row in international cricket, and he did not start well for Mumbai Indians as well. But the way in which he was able to manage since this sudden rapid rise, right? He's back to his ultimate best. I think that Punjab knock, I think when he was scoring those runs against Punjab, that's really tipped him along. That's what's given him that extra bit of confidence. Okay, now he can go out there and do a job, and he's doing that so well. I mean, he can. He's not gonna be shying away. But to add to that, I also will give credit to other players. Vishnu Mino today played a very good innings, so
Yeah.
underrated in that 30 of 20 also meant that the momentum was going up. There was, if you would have played 20, being a debutant at least, if you would have played a negative impact knock over there, that would have at least brought the score to a 200 or 195 odd. And that was a difference ultimately if you look at it. And something which we've been talking on this podcast previously as well, how Vishnu Mino needs to be coming into the mix. I mean, he's too good a player to be sitting on the bench. I've at times even gone to say he's better than Ishan Kishan, and I won't be surprised if he does more of these innings. He plays more of these match-winning innings because he's been doing that consistently for Kerala time and time again, batting in those positions, number 5, number 6. You can open the batting. You can throw him anywhere from number 1 to number 7. He can do a job. And that's something which he has been doing so well for Kerala over the last few years. And now you can see what he's all about. And also Nehal Vadera's crucial cameo there. He came in and he got going. So these knocks really added value to the Mumbai Indians score. I mean, we've been talking about Suryakumar Yadav's 200 strike at 100, but we have to talk about these knocks as well because ultimately, if you look at it, Wankhede is a high scoring ground, and you need to score something extraordinarily high to defend over there. I mean, anything, maybe even 200 would have made Gujarat Titans chase it down today, is what I feel, because the 218 was psychologically an advantage for Mumbai Indians. If you look at it, that's what made Gujarat Titans go a little more reckless with the bat. Hence, they lost a lot of wickets in clusters up front. If not, I think if it was 200, 205, I think Gujarat would have really fancied their chances. Because remember, they were coming into this game after scoring 230 odd against Lucknow Super Giants in the last game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also believe, as Kapil Verma says, that GT lost in the first innings. If not for Rashid Khan's knock, it wouldn't have been as close. It's not close at all, but it would have been even further apart, the two teams. But that's where I believe, as you mentioned, Abel, first innings itself, Gujarat Titans were done. I think Suryakumar's knock not only got the runs on the board, it also deflated their team. I think when Shubman Gill and Ridwan Saha came out to bat, it seemed like there was this extra pressure on them to do well in the power play, that extra burden on them to do well in the power play, and that destroyed the top order right away because they couldn't bat and set themselves in. They had to go at it from ball one, and maybe that's also the reason why they felt that struggle. I think Priyanka is right. I mean, that's where I have to. I was talking about this to you as well, Abel. There's something about MI team, isn't it, where the later of the tournament they know how to make a comeback. And seemed like Mumbai Indians are once again going to be outside the top 4, but then now it just seems like they are well on course to at least a number 3 spot.
Yes, I'll agree to that, Jaren. I mean, at this point, they also look like they can get the top 2 positions, rather. I mean,
Yeah.
it has to come down to the way in which they're batted well. I mean, if you look at that bowling attack, it won't really give you that confidence of them making it to the top 4 because it's been that kind of a season for Mumbai Indians. Ultimately, if you look at it, they've had a very lackluster season to start off with, but from there to pick it up, identify their strengths, they've understood. In Wankhede, they've got the batting powerhouse to chase any total down, and they've chased 200 down 3 times. And to add to that, in games like this, where they really understand they will have to outbat the team and score something extraordinarily high, they've been able to do it. And it has to come down to their batting. I mean, they've got the power pack batting attack to do it so, and they've been able to utilize it. And one of the primary reasons is once again Surya Kumar Yadav, because I still believe if Surya Kumar Yadav fails in his batting, they'll fail. I mean, this batting relies a lot on Surya Kumar Yadav, because whenever Surya Kumar Yadav has done well, even if he scores a 60 to 70, that's when Mumbai Indians have done well. Or other than that, I know Tim David is there, Cam Green is there, but everybody's been playing around Surya Kumar Yadav. There's been no single-handed performer who has come out there and done a job for them. But it's been all these games, there's been one vital factor, that's Surya Kumar Yadav's innings. Let it be the both 200 chases, or let it be the chase which they also had recently, but it has to come down to Surya Kumar Yadav. And that's where I think a game in which Surya Kumar Yadav will fail for Mumbai, they're going to struggle immensely. And you saw that in the game in Chepauk as well, where Surya Kumar Yadav failed. I know Nehal Badera did play a knock over there, but that was the difference between the two teams. If Surya Kumar Yadav would have performed there, I think Mumbai would have won that game. So ultimately, the reliance on Surya Kumar Yadav is even more prominent, though we don't mention it. On a day where Surya Kumar Yadav will fail, it's going to be even more glaring on Mumbai Indians. But as long as he's scoring runs, I think Mumbai will take any bit of it. But now the biggest concern for Mumbai Indians is going to be again their bowling. Despite of them having Gujarat 5 down or 6 down for less than 100, from there on to concede 190, I mean, those are issues they'll have to address, because on another day where their batting might not be able to score 218, remember, especially when they travel away from home, when they play away from Wankhede, scoring 200 will be excessive, will be an immensely tough task. Can their bowling do it on that day? And that's going to be the biggest question mark for Mumbai. Now, a lot of holes seems to be covered, but I can still not say they look like a championship winning team. It should take something really extraordinary well from the batting attack to make them a championship winning team, and they're not the best side on paper, rather, especially when it comes to the bowling as well.
Absolutely, I think that's pretty much. I mean, it's well put there because it does seem like Suryakumar Yadav is the player who around whom everyone is playing. But I have to say, some good signs today was how Rohit Sharma batted. He struck at a strike at a 160. It just seemed like he was getting his timing right. The shot that he was playing is coming from the middle of his bat. It was just a good delivery that he got from Rashid Khan. Otherwise, I genuinely felt at the start of this game that it was a Rohit Sharma kind of a game where he could have been the man today to take Mumbai Indians to that 280 instead of Suryakumar Yadav, and that could have been trouble for Gujarat Titans if Rohit Sharma also got going. One thing that I liked about him though is that he stayed on the crease, didn't try to play around. I mean, did not overdo his footwork as he was doing when he was stepping out and going after the bowling. Today he stood on his. He stood there. He had a stronger base when he was launching those deliveries, and some of the best shots I've seen him play. I would also have to say though that in from Gujarat Titans side point of view, it did seem like Hardik Pandya not bowling in the power play did affect them because Mohit Sharma is not a power play bowler. So I think that's where I believe they had to bowl in Mohit Sharma, and that kind of allowed Mumbai Indians to get off to that good start. Others says can Mumbai win their sixth title? Yeah, I think that we already answered that. I think I'll agree with what Abel said. There are a lot of holes in this team still that Surya Kumar Yadav at this point in time is filling up.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think the bowling is well. Jason Behrendorff is doing a very good job in the power play. But
agree.
after the power play, post the power play is their biggest issue. Piyush Chawla is one bowler they have relied on, but again, he's been lately in the last few matches, he hasn't been as much, on point as he had been previous season in the previous matches before. So it
Yeah.
does seem like their bowling is that one thing that is going to tie them down if they don't get their sixth title. But if they do get their sixth title, then it has to be their batting. It has to be Surya Kumar Yadav.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Primarily because it's a heavily batting reliant team at this point of stage. At least when you look at the team from an outside perspective, but I also think there is one good lining thing about Mumbai Indians for the future. I mean, we've been talking about it for a while now. What could be the future for Mumbai Indians? Now look at this team, right? Imagine when Bumrah and Archer is on their full tilt, along with that young core of batters with Tilak, Nehal, add Surya into the mix with Ishan as well if he gets going, and also Tim David and Cam Green. I mean, now you're talking about a team which could potentially be a championship winning team. Now that is the difference. It's about those few missing pieces which they already have in their artillery, but it's not fit enough. So once they unleash them all, I think then this team is going to have a different outlook altogether. Then it's going to be a championship winning team. But even with this team, if they're able to achieve success, Imagine then with that team which they can possibly unleash upon the park. Now that is something which a lot of teams should take a note of or be wary about, because at this point of stage, at least I know for a fact that Mumbai Indians do not have the best team on the paper, and they still been able to do well. Now imagine on that day when they're going to have their complete 11 fit and fine, and with everybody in form. Now that is going to be some team to beat, and I think that will be the biggest challenge for a lot of teams. But I'll give credit to Rohit Sharma as well. The way in which he's marshaled his resources. I mean, let's talk about the bowling today. I mean, they broke Gujarat Titans back today with their ball. I think Madhwal has done
Yeah.
a phenomenal job so far. He's a young bowler. He's got tremendously good Yorker, and I think he's going to improve even more. I mean, they've unearthed another gem from Mumbai Indians Academy, I would say so. Another bowler who's very, very raw, very young, got a very good Yorker there, and I think he can really develop over a period of time. And also to add to that, I mean, Jason Behrendorff giving consistent wickets every game up top. I mean, that's also a good thing. And Piyush Chawla has done a decent job. I mean, he came and picked up Abhinav Manohar at a very important stage in that game. So all in all, I think what Mumbai Indians are able to do with this young core of bowling attack is phenomenal. And Kartikeya has every time you give the ball to Kartikeya, one thing he does is, he's able to give you those, at least those dot balls, add pressure into the team.
Mm.
And that's why I'll give credit to Rohit Sharma once again, because what Rohit Sharma has done is to bring in these ballers at the right time, not really mess up with it. Because I also think that has to also come down to the factor that there's no Bumrah. He does not have to think about whom should he save. He can use these ballers at whenever he wants them to, because there is nothing called as a specialist weapon which he has to save for later or use in these kind of phases, because he feels all the ballers are on a level playing field and he can actually use these resources any time of the game.
Absolutely. I think one more thing that I felt today was also the lack of Mohammad Shami getting anything off the pitch. Usually, Gujarat Titans do a very good job as a bowling unit, and Mohammad Shami is able to get those early inroads. But today he was completely off the mark. He travelled a lot. I think he gave 50. He gave 53 runs away in 4 overs, and
Yeah.
that's where I think things did not go their way. And he had no wickets, so there are no wickets in the power play. So once Mumbai Indians had that stable start, this Mumbai Indians team bats way deep. I mean, today, for instance, Cameron Green came for them at sixth down, and they still had Chris Jordan and Piyush Chawla coming into bat. So when you have that kind of confidence, when you have that kind of tail, I mean, that kind of a list of batters, you need to ensure that early wickets are. I mean, you get early wickets. On the other hand, if you look at Gujarat Titans, you have to say that when Gujarat Titans came on to bat, they were stunned by Madhwal and Behrendorff, the two of them. And I mean, I think they lost enough of wickets already by the time the power play ended. Yeah, they lost 3 wickets by the fourth over, and then by the seventh over, they lost their fourth in the shape of Vijay Shankar. So it is already game done there, because you cannot be chasing 219. You cannot be scoring anything about 219 when half your side is already in before 10 overs are balled.
I agree, man. I totally agree with you. But it was about how many wickets you can take to contain this. Because in Wankhede, once your wickets in hand, I think even 130 of the last 10 is a possible ask and possible task to even achieve. Because we've seen teams do that previously. But for Gujarat, what went wrong was they tried to go a little more harder up front. And I don't blame them, because, as I mentioned, it was a psychological advantage which Mumbai had over Gujarat in today's game. But if you look at it in a different perspective altogether, maybe if Shubman, or maybe for that matter, if Saha would have gotten them off to a better start, if they were 50 for no loss in the power play, then when you had players like Miller, Hardik, and everybody to fall, this game would have been a different game altogether. It was about the start, and if Gujarat would have gotten that start, I think Gujarat would have been in the chase a lot more, and this game would have been much more closer than what we think. Maybe even Gujarat would have chased it down. So it was about picking up those initial wickets, and that's what Mumbai did right. And it was not about conceding those wickets, and that's what Gujarat did wrong. And if you look at Mumbai's last few chases as well in Wankhede, one thing what they've done right is they've not lost a lot of wickets up top. Even if they had, they lost under a score of 100, they had maximum lost 2 to 3, not more than 3. Here they lost 6 wickets. Now that means your game is done and dusted at that point of stage. If they were 10 over, at the 10 over mark, if they were 95 or for 2, they still would have been in the game. But what happened was it was just the contrary to it. They did not have wickets in hand. Though Rashid Khan played out of his skin, literally out of his skin, to get that score to 191, but it was not good enough at the end of the day. We knew the match was done and dusted way before the 10 over mark, and it was just formalities about how many more can they score just closing the gap of net run rate as well there.
Absolutely. I think it's. I mean, also if you look at probably some the side of it, if you look at Mumbai's bowling today, they'll be very proud of the way they have gone about it. Wasn't an easy pitch to ball at all, and I did feel like there was a little bit of view. I mean, there as well when Rajasthan started to get going. Akash Matwal is probably one player. You already spoke about him, but we have to talk about Jason Bandoff as well. He's just been an incredible find for Mumbai Indians coming into this Mumbai Indians team, when they were expecting or hoping that it was going to be Jofra Archer and Jasprit Bumrah who's going to lead this bowling attack. Someone like Jason Behrendorff has just been incredible, and he's gotten that ball to swing. He's made life difficult, and he's gotten the important batters of the opposition team out. I mean, just in the previous game against RCB, he broke their back by getting the likes of Virat Kohli out very early. So, I mean, that's where you have to give credit to him because he's the kind of bowler that they've missed. I mean, when Trent Bolt was in this team, that's what Trent Bolt used to do for them. He used to get those early wickets and, I mean, completely destroy any chances of the opposition team reaching a good target. So, credit has to be given to Bandorf as well. I believe if this team does make it to the finals or even to the championship, I think Jason Bandorf has a huge say in it.
I agree. I mean, yeah, he could be a potentially one of the better recoveries of this IPL, I would say so, because he started off the IPL in a poor note, and he's
Yeah.
come back from the position he was. He was dropped from the team as well midway. He now get a lot of chances. There were other bowlers who were preferred over there, and Mumbai Indians were not going through the best of times at that point of stage. But now, if you look back at it, I'd still say those games when Mumbai Indians could have possibly even given him confidence is now what's been repaying for them. And they've stuck with him, not really dropped him, and they have no other option. I mean, at this point of stage, they have no other option than to go to Jason Behrendorff, and this is what Jason Behrendorff is known to do as well. Move the ball a little bit up front, pick up those good 2 to 3 wickets, or if not three, at least two in the power play and get a wicket, in a compulsory manner every game. And he's been able to do that because they're playing in Wankhede. In Wankhede, you know that under the lights, the ball tends to move around quite a bit, especially for the swing ballers. They get something out of it in the air. So I mean, he's really enjoyed that so far, and he's been able to pick up wickets. So even if you look at the RCB game, he picked up a couple of wickets there. In today's game as well, he picked up an important wicket there. So I think looking at things from a larger perspective, I think if Mumbai Indians does make it to the playoff, which looks like they might now, I personally think it has to come down to these smaller contribution by these players who have really done a good job for them so far.
Absolutely, and I mean, if you just look at the points table as well. I mean, let's just look at the points table, and if you look at the points table, you'll see that Mumbai are pretty close to Chennai, where they are right now, and that is where you have to say that this is that kind of an IPL year as well. Um, I mean, what do you say to this now? I mean, Gujarat Titans right now are at 16, they have CSK at 14, and MI at, I mean, CSK 15, and then MI at 14. Very close to each other. Anything can happen from here. This loss actually for Gujarat Titans, I think if Gujarat Titans had won today, they would have qualified. But now this loss means that anything can happen. Any one of these three teams can make it to the top two, depending on how the other as I mean the rest of the two matches go for them. So interesting to see how things go from here for them because you look at CSK. I think they're playing KKR and Delhi. CSK will be a little happy that they are playing Delhi because Delhi are probably one of the better teams to face at this point in time. They're out of the tournament. But you never know again because when teams are out of the tournament, that's when they have come swinging. I mean, they've come out swinging. And Mumbai are going to play LSG on. They're playing it on 16th. They're going to play LSG, and then they've got SRH on the penultimate day. And
Yeah.
to understand where RCB and where Gujarat ends up at, they're going to be playing SRH and RCB as well. And they're playing RCB on the last day, which means Gujarat will have the final say in who's going to be in the top two.
Yeah, I think so. So that's going to be very interesting. And it also comes down to how Mumbai and CSK goes about in the next 2 games. If
Yeah.
CSK and Mumbai does have a little bit of issues, then it could be a different perspective as well. Remember, Lucknow is also there in the hunt at this point of stage at least. So I think anything can happen. I mean, the tournament is still open even for Chennai as well. Next 2 games are going to be so crucial for them. I mean, they don't want to lose points anywhere because I know if they
Yeah.
win one, they can qualify. But then you're coming up against two teams who have nothing to lose at this point in the stage. So that's where things can be slightly more tricky even for Chennai. But I think for GT, I mean, job is pretty much cut out. They have to win their next two to just take that top two position. I think they will fancy the chances against both RCB and SRH. But ideally, they'd want to win it in the next game and seal the spot. That's exactly how they would want to go about it, because once you're there and once you seal that spot, I think once they get to 18, I don't think anybody is going to take that top two spot. And that's where I think Gujarat will really fancy the chance of winning the next game against Sunrisers, be in a comfortable position, seal that top two spot. And by the last game, even against RCB, they could possibly experiment, give a couple of their players a little bit of rest before the important playoff game. So that's what Gujarat would like to go about it. Even for CSK, they'd want to get to that top two position, win a couple of games. For Mumbai, yeah, I mean, things look very good for them at this point of stage, but it isn't so good as well. And they've been in a good winning one so far, won 4 out of their 5.
I think the next match for Mumbai Able is going to be the most trickiest because they're going to be playing in LSG. It's going to be a turning track.
Yeah.
That is where I believe, because we spoke about how MI's batters have done so well. So that's where their batters are going to face the biggest challenge. And also, remember, LSG, and after today's game, Rajasthan, LSG, RCB, I would say, are going to be a little shaken because they need that spot. Remember, LSG and RCB have one extra game in hand compared to RR. KKR and Punjab at this point in time, and also Punjab as well, have an extra game in hand, which means Punjab, RCB, LSG, and RR would be a little upset that Mumbai have ended up with those 2 points, because that just narrows their chances of qualifying, because that almost makes it that only number 4 berth is open now. But yeah, now from here on, the next few matches tomorrow, the next few matches, especially the one on Sunday and Saturday, are going to be so important because
Yeah,
it's going to
very
decide a lot of things.
I mean, this weekend is a very important weekend in IPL. This is the
Yeah.
last possible big weekend of the IPL as well. So I think RR are playing RCB, so that's a big game there. LSG are playing Sunrisers, so even for Sunrisers, even to give themselves a chance, I know they play the least amount of games in the tournament at this point of stage.
Yeah.
So Sunrisers also will believe. I mean, they're still not out of it. So
I mean, if they
Sunrisers,
win the next 4 able, they have 8 points to win. So you never know, they might end up with 16 still.
yeah, absolutely. So that's what I'm trying to say, right? So even for Sunrisers, they'll know that they're right in it. They're not yet out. So I mean, it's upon these teams, for Sunrisers to get a win over LSG, then make themselves believe, go into that 10-point mix. For RCB, RR, very important game once again. If RCB goes on to defeat RR, they will get that extra bit of chance. But I think if RR, then RCB are going to be right in the mix as well. So this is where things are going to be very interesting, because then RR will be under so much of pressure, because then they'll know that they can only end up with 14 points. If RCB lose, also they'll know that they can only end up with 14 points. So it's a virtual knockout, you can say, for that matter, that game. So every game from now on is like a knockout rather than anything else. So it's such a good build up to the playoffs, before the playoffs in itself. So every team will know they'll have to be, even for Chennai, Super Kings for that matter. Maybe for tomorrow, I think Delhi are playing Punjab. That game is also very important from both the teams' perspective. So every team will know from here on they can't afford to slip up. So whoever are there in the contention from 1 to 8, 1 to 9 at least, every team will know that they have a chance and they'll not have to slip it up.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today then. Make sure you guys do download and experience the risk-free fantasy experience on Boom 11 app that's available on Google Play Store and Apple App Store as well. And guys, we are entering what we should probably call the quarterfinal stage of IPL. So some exciting action awaiting us. But yeah, regardless of who ends up in the top 4 or at the bottom 4, you guys can definitely make it huge at Boom 11.
Absolutely, guys. Have a good time playing in Boom 11. And as I mentioned earlier as well, there's a lot of things awaiting you on Boom 11. So get ready for that, because these things are going to be pretty exciting for all of you viewers. And Azul says, bad ka grip. Of course. Bye. And have a good night, all of you.